Good morning, everybody. I think that's a really... Good morning, good morning. There we go. All set up, ready to go. Morning. Hi, I'm Mary June Tracy. I'm the Guru Mama. I'm a spiritual love of life coach, a psychic medium. I work in many different modalities. I work in coaching. I do, good morning, different modalities. I'm a Reiki master, and I do house cleansings and work with energies and things along that line, and a few other different modalities. So today I was just opening it up to talk about spirituality and what it means. What is it? And what does it mean to you? And how does it look in your life? And if you have questions, ask me questions. It's I'm going to keep this fairly open. Are you of a certain religion? No, I'm not. I was raised Catholic. So good morning, Cynthia. Good morning, John. I was raised Catholic, and I think that is the basis of a lot of who I am, because that's how I was raised, a very strict Catholic. And I don't practice it, like go to church every Sunday and stuff like that. My issues, can an atheist have a spiritual? Of course, they have to have some form of belief. It's not that you have to have belief in a deity. There is a belief of having something better in your life. What are you? Oh, what are you? What am I? That's a pretty broad question. What am I? I am a person. I'm a human being. I guess that's, being atheist, I think you still need some form of belief, right? Of who you are, and have a sense of identity in a way. People who say that they're atheist, I find them very interesting, and stuff. And I'm subscribing. You make so much sense. Oh, thank you. I try to. I'm glad you think so. Sometimes my family don't think I make any sense. But are you Muslim? No, I'm not Muslim. No, I'm not. Does it matter if I am? That's the whole thing. It's like, it does. I've known people who were so staunch on their religion or their belief systems, but they wouldn't go out and lend a helping hand to anyone, right? Yeah, God is love, definitely. And I know people who know what you think are beliefs. Oh, you think I'm ugly? Oh, I'm so sorry. But you know what? I think you're beautiful. Okay? It's a rule of sexuality and spirituality. I'll touch that. Sexuality? Ooh, that's a huge one. Man, I said I'm talking about spirituality, and then we get all these people in here. But people who I'm just finish my thought here on that people may not have a certain belief system or so-called atheists, but are the most beautiful people in the world and are really willing to, no, I won't shake mine because I can't see yours. And when it comes to sexuality, we all have it, right? I'm an atheist, but I lend an open hand to it. Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole thing, is that people who, even though that they're atheist or whatever, they can have such a beautiful open heart. It comes down to each individual person. And sexuality is a huge thing. If you're talking about sex in itself and the act of sex, that's a whole different area. But when we're talking about sexuality of who we are, because we all, ever since we were children, we have a form of sexuality as female, male in our identity, right? And it's a standing within our identity and who we are and how we hold ourselves, right? I don't know if I'm explaining that one right. But because, within that, I don't even know what these people are saying. It's just like, oh my God. There we go. Within that of sexuality, I think it's how you respect yourself. That's what it comes down to. And it's a little bit different when it comes to, can we add money to our prayer wheel? Yeah, you can. Money's energy, right? And just my last note on the, for the sexuality, I think it comes down to who you are. Do you believe in Jesus Christ? Do I believe in Jesus? Yeah, I do. I think he's the original hippie. I do. He didn't come down with dogma. He didn't come down. Dogma was written about him 100 years later. Things about him are written in 100 years later. So, and he came down here just to love. What do you think about sex before marriage? Well, I'm Catholic, so I'm going to say yes. It happens. How old am I? Are you asking that as a legit question, or are you asking that in a sly kind of thing? So, just I'm going to get rid of Mr. Dick here. Oh, for sex. Well, I'm sorry. I'm too old for you, honey bunny. To me, if you did to give yourself away for the act of just having sex is not, you look ugly. I can't see you, so I can't reciprocate. For just having it, sometimes I think there's more to it than what people think. With women, we give off a certain hormone in the act of sexuality, and that causes us to give more than what men, and that's a huge thing. So I think just to give ourselves just for the act of it, there's more to it as a human being and deep down as humans. Some people think it's okay and just to have it with anybody, but at the end of the day, there's a lot that you intake, because there still is a part of you that you've given away, even though it might have been fun and exhilarating and you got that beautiful high and sense and stuff. So is that not fornication? No, fornication is a little bit different. I mean, having sex before marriage with somebody you care about, I don't think that's wrong. I really don't. I think it's more if fornication, to me, when I think of fornication, this is my own, I might be wrong with the actual definition. Greetings from Kenya. I think fornication comes down to something that somebody is like doing something in public, or something that like pornography, like the magazines and things like that. To me, that to me is fornication. But the act of premarital sex is not the act of fornication. So I don't know if that makes sense. I'm absolutely fabulous today. Irish Mike, whew! I just started acupuncture for anxiety. What are your... Oh, that's absolutely fabulous. When do you know you were sick? Okay. With acupuncture, because what it does, it helps with... acupuncture, I'll get back to everybody's questions one sec. When you do acupuncture, because it's opening up the different meridians and opening up a different to allow for things to the energy lines to flow through. And what with the acupuncture really helps to get you into a sense of peace. It helps you to get into more of a calmness. So anything to do like acupuncture is really helpful. If you can get Reiki done, or know somebody who's a Reiki, practitioner, to get some Reiki done would be absolutely fabulous. And getting into also combining that with the meditation practice. So it's like actually making it like a whole little package for yourself, not only with the acupuncture, but let's add in some energy healing for you, and let's add in, for you to get into your stillness, okay, and getting into that. Can you show you what? I don't know. And massage, yeah, would actually be really good too. Knowing when I was from the Journey Club, been doing those. Oh, awesome. That's good. And it's just, I mean, the thing is when I'm doing those things, I'm making them very, hopefully, easy and accessible, and not too difficult. That's, because it's to get into things very gracefully. When did I know I was a psychic medium? Man, because I was born with this. So I always saw ghosts and angels. Always had a sense of seeing things around people and get images around people since I was little. The word psychic or medium was not used in my household, so I don't think that terminology really came to me till later on in life when, it was ESP, or having ESP or something like that. So, hello from Morocco. So it wasn't a terminology that I used till later on in life as a definition, okay? So, man, you guys. So I didn't use it. I would like talk to you, voice too. I like talk to you, voice too. Okay, thank you. I think I read that right. So when we're I need to practice my English. Oh, okay, gotcha. Some people can't spell today either. So spirituality is just, it's a huge it broadens. There's a huge broad spectrum, and people like to have it in a special box that's just for them. Good morning. And have it the way that it has to be just for them. And as I look at spirituality, there's just so many different ways to put it together for each person, and what makes that person to be able to be in their stillness and be here now. And that's the most important thing when it comes to any form of spirituality or religion. Even if, going back to where I was brought up, the way that the church is teaching now is so different than when I was born in many, many moons ago. And they just had it. They had many different things that they did that they don't do now. Do you believe in the Holy Spirit? Yeah, I do. I do, because I've seen it. I go by what I see. I go by what I feel. And it's not necessarily having to be religious, but knowing that I've seen that essence, and and for me it's really in here. It's in my heart chakra, and right down to where have I seen other things like fairies. I've had my scope and a fairy came in. Do I believe in different parallel universes? Yes, I do, because I've seen them and I've felt them. So, and I haven't, and I don't do drugs. So there's many different, what about heaven and hell? That's a really good question. To me, I know there is something there after death. I do. I know there is something there after death. Is there an actual hell? I don't know if there's an actual hell itself. In mine, I struggle with that because I've seen the negativity, and I've seen where in my own practice, where I have done, where there's been attachments to people, because I'm also a shaman, and going to the underworld. So I know there is an underworld, but is the underworld all, what we think is really bad? So, hello. I speak only English. So, no French or anything. What's the difference between an intuitive and an empath? An intuitive is a knowingness. You just know. Empath, you feel. You walk into a room and you feel it. And you're picking up everybody else's garbage. Everybody else's garbage. That's what, that's the difference between. Where's the underworld is down into, you could say, the core of the earth, into another alternate dimension. Many times in meditation, or when we go into different forms of shamanism, we have to go into the darkness, and the darkness is that of the underworld, and to get into that darkness, back into that void. And in any parts of history or any parts that they talk about, there's always been good and evil, right down to the Titans, who are evil. And Zeus and them, and according to legend, killed their father and sent him to the depths of the underworld, right? Or the depths of the sea in a containment. So there is some forms, I mean, there's always been written in some forms, there is negativity or evil, if you want to call it, in this world. Because we live in polarities. Yes, I am a grandmama. And we live in this world about, what are we talking about? I just joined. I have an open, sort of like, we're talking about spirituality. And we're talking, people who have questions about it. So we're just having like a little open forum of chatting. So somebody asked me about heaven and hell. And sorry, Maureen, I just missed your question because I was answering it. I'm Russian Putin. And we're talking about, it's mainly my views. I mean, I respect everybody's views here. So if you have a point of view of it, definitely. You are a shaman too. Yeah, I am. I've been doing this for 40, I've been doing it all my life, but I've been, a lot of different things have come to me. So I've been doing it for at least 35 plus years. What is a shaman? A shaman is a practice of the earth. Actually, the word shaman is actually Russian. It's a Russian terminology. Original shamans were from the Russian area and from the natives of Russia. Do you read the future? No, I don't read the future. I don't think I read the future. I have energy. That's future can change in an instant. I get information from different pathways, of people's pathways, of choices that they could make for their life and bringing their life to hopefully to a better plane. What advice can you give me for self-image issues and depression? Ooh, that's a good one. Self-image. First is to start doing your IMs, right? And should I use weed as a medicine or an antidepressant? Ooh, that's another good question. It's depending on which variety of weed that you're going to use. Okay? Because oh my gosh, there's two strains, and one's a little bit more of a can cause more anxiety than the other strain. And are you using it with THC or non-THC within it? So with the weed. So, but wait, go back to the IM part. So let's go back to the IMs. So the first is to start doing your IMs, because we have ideas of who we are, right? And yes, thank you, Sativia and Indica. Thank you. Island Man, of course you know. Just kidding, Sean. The IMs are the pathways or the roads that we build for ourselves, right? So we have these pathways of what we have been saying to ourselves. So it could be, I am fat, I am ugly, I am this, I am that. So we have negative IMs that we have been saying, right? Thank you. You're awesome too. And then when we start changing them to I am well. So when somebody asks you a question, how are you? Most of us say, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm fine. It's like, no, I am good. I'm good. And it's okay to be good. And it's and saying I am healthy just where I am. I love myself for who I am at this time. I respect myself for where I am. I am getting my second wind. If you're feeling tired all the time, I'm waiting for my second wind. I'm getting my second wind. Those are pathways. That's the roadway of shaping our world around us. And when we do that, shade dope, I don't know what that is. When we do that, and especially when we do it on a regular basis. So if we do the IMs and at least 5 of them a day, you end up bringing in that energy. To change something within you takes about 21 days on average. Okay, that's 21 days to make a habit. McDonald's knows this very well in advertising. Advertisement knows this very well. They do something and they bring something in for 21 days. Then they take it away and you've been used to it. And then they bring it back another couple weeks later or so. And then you're like, oh, yay. And then you're back in the habit. 40 days to bring it part of your life. Now, it's been shown scientifically what happens within 40 days when you've been doing something continually for 40 days in a routine. whether it is to do with saying your I ams, doing vibrational or toning. What it does, it changes the energy within the red blood cells. The red blood cells are like a consciousness within inside of yourself, because each cell has its own consciousness. And what they have been saying to you, so they renew themselves every 4 days, and as you've been doing something, that newness starts to come in and starts to be a part of your life. And it can be very difficult because we also have ego. The ego steps in. The ego starts to say to us, this is, why are you doing this? You don't have time for this. Check your Facebook. Do this, do that. So your I ams have a way of, or your ego has a way of sort of pulling you back. And it's to catch it. It's to catch the those sayings that are going on in your life. When you have depression and using weed, now you have to be careful. It's like, are you using weed as to sedate? One pull is different than having a whole joint or doing a volcano. Like it's totally different, right? Because then you're going around in a haze. And that's the same with some depression drugs. You go around in a haze. There's a company called True Hope, and they have it's a vitamin. It's called the Brain Formula, and it's called EMP, and it's by True Hope. So you can do some research there. I think weed can help to a certain degree. It's all depending. I don't know your whole background and everything else, so I'm not going to be an advocate or a doctor about this, right? So it's looking at the depression. So suffering from depression, all you need more is sports and company. Well, not necessarily, because you could still be depressed. Hello. But it's looking at, because it's a chemical imbalance within the brain, and that's what happens when you with depression. Things don't snap the way other people's brain snaps. Everyone is different. So it's looking at it. And what EMP is, and what they are finding more and more, is that, what's my name? My name's Mary June. They're finding more and more that people are having bipolar issues. They're having depression, anxiety, things like that. And a lot of the links are going back to our nutrition. Yeah, definitely. And what causes depression? Depression is caused in different ways. It has to do with the brain. I really like this girl, but I'm scared she don't like me, and I don't have confidence. Whew. We have to look at how the brain is functioning and how are you getting the nutrients in your life, and how that is within you. Chakras, DNA, medication help, yes. Chakra clearings, all of that. So depression is caused with different things and different what's going on. It is also could be hereditary. That's a typical grandson question. Too cute, the girl one. So it is to look at what's going on within your own life too. Also, exercise is always good because it releases the issues in the tissue, right? So, and going back, Maureen had a question too about finding balance. Finding balance is finding a routine that is best for you, right? Everybody is always looking for balance. What's balanced for you may not be balanced for somebody else, right? So we always compare ourselves. We have a wonderful way in our society of comparing and wanting to compare. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you. And it's looking at, maybe morning time is my time to do my morning routine, do my meditations and things along that line. Thank you, but I have to leave now. What's time? So I normally broadcast about 8:30 Mountain Time. Okay? You have an awesome day. Call in your angels today, Queen Beyonce. Just call them in, and know that you are true love and light. And you have light within you. Okay? So have a fabulous, fabulous day. You too. God bless you too. Thank you. And you got to look, because sometimes when you look over the scope of the year, Some months you better target it. Sometimes if you're not a winter child, and winter really gets you down because it's less light. So you got to acknowledge how your energy feels. So looking at sort of a month, each month of the year, and looking at how you feel. Where do you get more energy? And honoring that as you go along. So it's also finding that you're eating nutritionally. Nutrition is huge on bringing in good endorphins in your body and stuff. So in August, birth month. So you're probably more, I'd say, a summer, fall baby. So that's where you get a lot of energy. And in the fall, in the crispness of the fall, right? And bringing in those energies. And trying to replicate that, when the months aren't so bright for you, like, maybe December, January, February, and bringing in some more brightness into that world. Also, having a regular exercise routine is very good. And meditation and prayer. Meditation is stillness. What good, amethyst. Just turned your notification on, so expect me. Oh, good. Thank you. Yay. Prayer is very powerful because prayer is going out. So everybody, you may not like the term prayer, but prayer is a acknowledgement of asking. You're putting it out. What shall I do? Where should I go? It's that energy of putting it out. Meditation is bringing it in and bringing that stillness in. Bringing in things like rose quartz is very good. Belonging to a group of people that are like-minded are very nice, a congregation. People who are like-minded because you have a nice support system. Lepidolite is a really, really nice crystal. It's a purplish kind of color with little white dots on it. Rose quartz is really good for anxiety. So those ones are very good. The person who asked me about, you like somebody but you're afraid, how would you, the one question I have for you is that if you're so afraid of asking them, you're going to stay in that fear until you ask them. Because your fears are going to grow larger than anything. Your fears are going to make everything disproportionate in your life. And if she doesn't like you, she doesn't like you. If she likes you, she likes you. That's awesome. It's going up and asking. And if she doesn't, that's a sign. To me, that's, it's almost like a sign. Well, she doesn't like you. Well, maybe she doesn't see the beauty that you do have inside, and that's okay. It's now now you can go forward, right? And you can start living your life. What are your thoughts about the Arab Islam? What do you mean by my thoughts on that? I'm not going to get into too much political because Islam, it's depending what part of Islam are you talking about. Because just like any type of Christianity, in with Muslims, there's different tiers to it, right? And the one that's making the most boisterous things right now are very small majority to what the whole group of what other Muslims believe or practice. Okay? So it's looking at things like that. There's so many different depths to it. So, and bringing those depths to them. And I missed Maureen's question again. I'm sorry you do that. I got to pay more attention. So it's looking at, I know people can get very hung up on spirituality. You have a point. Thank you. And people have, no, don't worry, thank you. People get caught up on their own belief systems. And my theory is the other person's always right. Until you got to understand where the other person's coming from. You got to be able, you can't change somebody, or you can't until you change yourself. Until you change how you project yourself. If you're projecting yourself with a lot of negativity and hate, that's really what you get back. And you always seem to be in confrontation with other people. But when you start to sit back and you heal past traumas and let go, it's the past traumas. It's forgiveness. Really, it's forgiveness. It's going back into that forgiveness part. and going back and understanding of the traumas. Dealing with people with sexual abuse and things, and along that line, understanding when they get into that forgiveness of forgiving themselves, forgiving the others, and forgiving others who have done that to that person, right? And you go through it and you release it. And that is just the biggest thing that you could do, is to forgive, because you don't want to stay within that vibration. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. It really isn't easy. It's very difficult, because we have within us, we can be very vindictive. It sounds simple, where we want that other person to pay. I was at a TED Talk with this lovely young woman, got up and started talking. And she talked about her childhood and how beautiful her childhood was. And then one day her mom and dad separated. But her mom still, was very much a part of her life. And they did many things. Her mom read her stories, and her mom was teaching her how to bake and how to cook. And one night, in a very quiet night, she was laying beside her mom, and the bedroom door opened, and her father came in and murdered her mom right beside her. And she said that's the night her life turned upside down. In her TED Talk, she talks about how she went down into drinking and drugs and just giving herself away to whoever would take her, of going around from foster home to foster home. And it wasn't till she got the notification that her father was moved from the Saskatoon Penitentiary to the Edmonton Remand Center. And her heart dropped, but she knew that was the time. There was something about, she felt a pull that she had to go see him. And she made many trips, never went to go see him in Edmonton, but made many trips up there. Finally, one day, it was like her mother was calling her and saying, you got to let it go. You got to forgive him. And she went in finally, and she talked to them, and they hugged and they cried, and she listened to his story, and she listened to what he had to say. And she told him her story, and he listened. And at the end, and she said to him that she forgave him, and she let it go. And she also told him she doesn't need to see him anymore, because she doesn't need this relationship in her life. She just needed to let him go and forgive him. And she moved on from there. It's a very touching, of course, story of everything that happened. But it's something that out of something tragic now, she's going around teaching, and she's going around helping many other people of horror stories and tragedy within their own life, right? And it's something that, as she her words, something so horrible, she's coming into something very positive, within her life. How do you stay present and open more often? You got to get off the bitch train and get on the happy train. It is very positive. It really gets you. And staying in that vibration, it's like catching yourself when you are feeling, getting caught up in all of those feelings and stuff. Affirmations are definitely a way to go. What are you talking about, may I ask? Oh, yeah, we are talking about different things. It's sort of like an open forum I'm having today. I'm a psychic medium, spiritual love of life coach. And so we're talking about different things to do with spirituality and things along that line. That's what we're talking about. So it's kind of open. We're going to be winding down just now, because it seems like it's when things go on for a bit. But it's affirmations. I always say affirmations. Louise Hayes is absolutely fabulous for affirmations. Looking for the good things, the simpleness in your life is a good way to stay grounded and to stay positive. Doing those gratitudes definitely is a wonderful way of doing it. And trying to bring around the people that are in alignment to you, trying to keep like-minded people around you. And when you come against opposition within your life, it's to acknowledge it and ask why, because that's a mirror. You know, sometimes when there is that negativity or something coming into your life, how are you feeling it? What have you been, because our thoughts become things, right? My dad died 4 years ago and I'm sad. Oh, I don't know how. Sorry for my English. I'm Mexican. Oh, well, blessings to you. And it's hard when you lose a loved one, right? And especially when it's your dad. It doesn't matter what age, whatever. That's your father, and losing him. But it's in understanding that he's there. You can talk to him. He's around you. Going and visiting him, even at his gravesite and having a chat. Or even having that special connection with him and having a chat just, with your morning coffee or tea. And allowing to know that as they have moved on, they've moved on to somewhere, I guess into another plane, another area, and holding them dear to you, right? So, thank you. So I'm going to pull a couple cards for us today so that we can go on. Tomorrow I leave for Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. So, thank you, Sean. Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. So anybody who's not from Canada, Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan isn't a very big town. It's a very small town. I'm going there for a psychic medium fair. I've been invited. So I'm going to say that I've been there now. There's some beautiful, beautiful people. It's very much a farming community. And it's like 7-8 hours away. So I don't think I will be broadcasting just a little bit tomorrow. And then hopefully doing some broadcasts from Saskatchewan. So Canadians always have jokes about Saskatchewan and stuff. In Newfoundland, we just do that. So Saskatchewan, I think Saskatchewan is the same time. I think it's depending on which part of Saskatchewan, because they might be an hour ahead of me. So, but I think they are the same time. I think it's Manitoba that I get into being in another hour. So I'll check that out for you, and I'll let you guys all know. Or try and make sure I stay at the 8:30 time. So, okay, our first card. Stress that comes from having many things happening all at once. So look at the things that are happening all around you and ask for help with what's going on. Sometimes things can happen to you, sudden changes, sudden events happen right away, right? And it can be very stressful. Calling in your guides, calling in Archangel Michael, calling in the divine, calling for help so that you can, you don't have to deal with it alone. And then self-confidence, immediate action. So here we go. We got stressful, but a challenge you can successfully manage. So know that even though all of this is happening to you all at once, you're able to handle it. The full moon is on Friday, and we're in Sagittarius. So we are now on Wednesday. So we're already in the full moon energy. So a lot of stuff is going to be happening, and Sag is really one that brings us, we have to be grounded, but we're also connected. So it's as above, so below. And it's that connection. So we might be feeling a little bit out of connection, with that. And know that abundance is coming your way. When you stay connected and you stay grounded, that's when the abundance starts to happen for you. When you're doing your affirmations, when you're doing all of that. And it's when this starts happening, when the shit starts hitting the fan, that's not when you stop. That's when you do it even more, right? That's when you do those affirmations, when you do the gratitudes and the I ams, you do them even more. And the final card is let go of your ego. Okay? Because when all of this happens, the ego gets in the way. And an ego is a trap. Everything is within you. And the illusion is that everything is outside of you. All right? We believe everybody has everything better than we do. And that's the illusion. The illusion is that you have everything you need inside of you. Because you're all beautiful, loving, caring, absolutely fabulous people. It doesn't matter what race, what creed, what religion. We're all beautiful people, and we all have it inside of us. So let go of the ego. That's a hard one. because it's a trap. It gets getting you caught up in your fears and your worries. So have an absolutely fabulous, fabulous day. And get outside, ground yourself. Have a great one today. May the gods and the goddesses bless you and the angels and all of that around you. Have a great day. Namaste.